Hey, and welcome back to Self Care with Anya. Last week we were talking about toxic positivity. Today I want to talk to you about toxic negativity. What does that mean? We were talking about emotions, expressing emotions. That when you feel something that we consider a negative emotion, even though there's really no negative or positive emotions, they're just the ones that feel good and the ones that don't feel good. So anytime you feel an emotion that doesn't feel good, there is there might be people who are saying, oh, you shouldn't feel this, you should be positive, you should focus on the good stuff. And it sort of denies and dismisses our experience. And we talked about how that is very, very toxic and that's not helpful. But the flip side of it is that sometimes when we feel uncomfortable emotions, we can go down the rabbit hole where rather than feel what we're feeling and connect to the reason for it, we generalize it and make it something very global. So what do I mean by that? Is that when I feel some negative emotion or some uncomfortable emotion, is what's helpful to understand is that emotions are nothing but information. Emotion is your brain's way of taking all of the information that's coming at you from the outside and then pass through the filter of your beliefs and your rules and also what you're focusing on. And emotions are a way to give you a reader's digest of what's going on in your environment, whether or not you should do something about it. So it's like a condensed version of, do I need to take some action or not? So when you feel uncomfortable emotion, like anger, like frustration, like sadness, like loneliness, those emotions point you somewhere. But often when we feel it, we get intellectually so wrapped up in the fact that we're feeling bad that all of a sudden we start generalizing, and something may be difficult happened at work for you, and then you come home and you just said, I hate everything, life just sucks, and people are horrible, and you can't trust anyone, and you had a fight with your boyfriend, and you go to your girlfriend and said, men suck, they cannot be trusted. We make all of a sudden something that doesn't feel uncomfortable gets generalized and spilled, and all of a sudden the whole world becomes a unsafe and a horrible place to be. So my invitation for you is, just like with not denying negative emotions, let's also not blow them up and make them into something that it's not. So how do you deal with that? Is you tap into, so what is this, first of all, what it is that I'm feeling? I feel angry. Okay, great. So somebody violated my standards of what I thought this thing should be, and I'm angry about it. And that's valid. Your environment did not match your expectations. So you're angry. Great. Now go deeper. Why are you feeling this way? What is the underlying reason? What was your expectation? What did you want to happen? What was the part that you played? What was the part that other people played? What is it that you really wanted to happen? And if so, how could you bring that about? And if there's injustice that happened, is feel that injustice, but make sure you limit that feeling of anger to the injustice that actually happened and happened in the moment and happened here and now. And don't spill it on your kids, on your coworkers, on traffic, on other things, because that becomes a toxic negativity where you're starting to project the uncomfortable feeling, and instead of dealing with it and processing it and healing it and doing something about it according to the signal that the emotion is providing you with, you project it on other people and make it other people's problem. And that not only keeps you stuck because you have not processed the emotion, but it also erodes your relationships with other people and really a relationship with yourself as well. So I hope this is helpful, and please ask questions. And if you disagree, tell me. But this is my experience. This is how I process a lot of negative or uncomfortable. I keep saying negative. See how conditioned we are? This is how I process a lot of uncomfortable emotions. So let's have a dialogue around it, because we live in a camp, in the world in which it's not socially okay to feel bad. So we hide it. When we hide it, we're never really given socially appropriate tools to be able to deal with and process and express uncomfortable emotions. So then we end up shoving it down and numbing and distracting, and all of a sudden we find ourselves under a layers of multitude of unresolved emotions, and then we struggle with our energy levels, with our health, with our relationships, and we don't understand why it is that we're struggling. But the reason we're struggling is because we have all these incomplete, unfelt emotions inside that are just sitting there without being processed. So if we create a dialogue around how to process and experience emotions, how to discharge the emotions, how to communicate the emotions, we not only create a much safer and more integrated society, but we ourselves become healthier, happier, and more integrated. If you want to talk about, if you want to find out how to process emotions, go back to the video on toxic positivity. I mentioned a little bit about that. If you have any questions, pop them in the box underneath, and share, subscribe, and let's continue talking, and so we can all lead happier, healthier, and more integrated, beautiful lives. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you at the next episode of Self Care with Anya.